All right, yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Brody. Thank you as always for tapping into the broadcast network. And the war has concluded. Drake, Kendrick Lamar, the battle has come and gone. And I cannot wait to talk about it. There's a lot to unpack here, a lot of things to talk about. However, today I decided I'm going to do something a little different. My little brother, Brandon, I'm going to welcome him to the show first off. So
thank you for having me.
Yes, he is the host of the Discovering Discographies podcast. We definitely make sure that we shout that out at the end. But he is not like a hip hop head. He's like a real casual rap fan, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, I felt like this will be a good beef to talk about because this is the first, in my opinion, the first rap beef based around two pop stars. That's number one. Because historically they have been contextualized as rappers, but Kendrick Lamar and Drake are both pop stars, right?
Yeah, they have pop appeal, so I would say more pop stars.
So with all that being said, we're gonna break down this beef song by song, layer by layer, as much as we can because there is so much to unpack here. But before we get started with the songs directly in this battle, I just want to give a brief timeline kind of to where this beef started, because it's been brewing for a very, very long time.
That's new to me.
So the battle back and forth current day started with first person shooter. However, this beef has kind of been brewing for at least like the last, I'd say, 8 to 10 years or so. There have been little subtle shots. I remember the first song that I ever heard from Kendrick Lamar where he actually said something. I was like, oh, he's talking directly about Drake on this. It's King Kunta. Yeah, so at the end, if you listen to it, there's a part where he's like, but a rapper with a ghostwriter, what the fuck happened? He was talking about Drake in that moment, and it's one of those kind of, things where it's a red light moment for you, for me.
Yeah.
And then BT Cypher, the Control Verse, countless other things where those kind of had this beef brewing a lot. But recently, it came back for after First Person Shooter. Now, you've heard First Person Shooter, right?
Yes.
In that song, J. Cole had a line where he's talking about the big three. And now, looking back on it from what we understand now, I think Kendrick Lamar was supposed to be on that record.
That would make sense, yeah.
And I think it makes sense as to why he set the line. But first person shooter, J. Cole kind of started this thing with the big three line, and Kendrick on Like That. So that's the first song that's beef. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. First off, how did you like the song, Brandon?
I like it. I rock with it real heavy. I will say on my initial listen, when he said the line about the big three, I had to like take a moment to step back because I was like, I thought he was joking at first, but then I was like, this doesn't sound very playful. I think he's like dead ass serious. So I was kind of curious to see where everything would go from there, and as we're seeing now, it's ignited a whole beef. Yes,
you're exactly right. And I know when that song dropped, for me, it was almost like, oh, snap, he done shook on the hornet's nest a little bit, like you just said. And in all honesty, the line is so fire. F your big three, it's just big me. Like that's a bar to have for anything.
Not gonna lie, I've been saying that bar so much the past like week or so.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things where it can easily get stuck in your head. But the verse was crazy. And it was one of those things where, like I said, I heard it and I instantly was like, shook the hornet's nest with this. Let's see what happens here. Because hip hop has been like in this weird spiral the last few years. And I think it's contributed because Kendrick doesn't drop a lot of music, J. Cole either, and Drake has been left to his own devices. But with that verse, it kind of ignited a spark. Like, just as a hip hop fan, it felt like a spark, not just for the beef, but just for the culture, period, was kind of sparked with that bar from Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, I would agree. And kind of to speak on that, like, for me, I'm pretty sure this is like the first like real back and forth like rap beef I've seen in my lifetime. Because typically you have rappers now that just throw little jabs, jab verses and bars in songs, but you never really have them like do like whole diss tracks and like continue doing them back and forth.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because you are very much so right about that. I think in the past, rappers, when they had beef, they would just kind of put songs out, or it'd be like a freestyle somewhere where they're talking about somebody. But this was almost like, this really was like a rap battle, like that you would see, you know what I'm saying, like on a URL card or something.
Yeah.
Which was very, very interesting. Which also says a lot about the tracks itself, because I think some of these tracks really were like recorded a while ago, and they're kind of just been brought up now because of this beef. Just went full-fledged.
Yeah.
But Like That comes out. That was the first record. And so now let's talk about the smartest man in the room, because that's a big part of this whole story as well. J. Cole dropping 7 Minute Drill. Now, if you blinked, you might have just missed the song because it's no longer on streaming services. But
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those. I kind of did miss the song.
Oh, you missed a good one. It was a good, very, very good diss song. It wasn't like a personal diss song. It was really just kind of like, yo, like you've kind of fallen off sort of thing to Kendrick Lamar. And he did have a point, and that's a deeper conversation.
Yeah, I would agree.
But still, it was like, it wasn't like a personal jab. It was definitely more so like a, oh no, I see what you said. If we gonna battle, let's battle it out.
Yeah. In hindsight, I really regret I didn't hop on it when I had the chance. I've been slacking on a lot of my music lately, so I'm still trying to catch up. But when I did go out there, I was like, this one is grayed out. So I was like, well, damn. Well, there we go. But from what I did hear, it wasn't as personal like a jab, but, it was kind of to show like we're going to, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this.
Right. And so 2 days later, a whole 48 hours later, after this album drops, Might Delete Later, very good album, by the way, which the fact that he deleted that song takes that whole album away from me.
Ooh.
Yeah. But 2 days later, Dreamville Fest in Raleigh.
Yes.
Very nice time. Anybody that's never gone, recommend going at least once. That's all I'll say about that. He apologizes.
Yes.
He goes on this rant apologizing, and actually I'm just gonna play the audio for y'all so y'all can hear it and get a sense of where we're going to. So as y'all heard, the beef didn't sit right with J. Cole's spirit. Brandon, what are your thoughts on J. Cole's spirit and 2 days after putting out the first diss?
As someone who, in situations like that, it's easy for me to like feel guilty about stuff. I can see where he was coming from as far as like apologizing 2 days afterwards. And that shows how mature he is, really. Not to say that Drake and Kendrick aren't mature, but it is a sign of maturity, in my opinion. And in hindsight, I'm sure he's jumping for joy that he apologized when he did and got out of it.
I agree 100%. At the time when he did apologize, I put out a video saying I might not have agreed with it, but I respected it just because of where he was coming from, talking about his spirit. And as a spiritual person myself, I really do believe in that. But like me, just as a hip hop fan, as a hip hop enthusiast, it killed me. It really did kill me. So I'm like, man, J. Cole put out such a great project and can really stand on, I'm number one here. And if he's willing to battle it out, let's do it. And he backed out. Now, in hindsight, that was one of the smartest decisions that man has ever made in his life. And shout out to Schoolboy Q, because that's apparently who told him, hey, you probably want to sit this one out. Shout out to him, because that's a hell of a friend. Everybody needs a friend like that.
Yeah.
but in hindsight now, it was a good decision. And in all honesty, I don't know where J. Cole would have fit in this whole battle anyway, just because of how. Because I think Kendrick and Drake, I think their beef was so much more personal than J. Cole. Because J. Cole really is like the neutral party here. So
Yeah.
it felt like he just would have felt out of place in this entire beef. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it would be Kendrick and Drake, and then just kind of J. Cole, like in the middle somewhere. Like, I think he'd kind of be an afterthought, for lack of a better word. But it would kind of be direct shots between Kendrick and Drake, pretty much.
Yes. And that's for sure what we got. So, so time passes. I think it was like a week and a half, something like that. And Drake drops Push Ups. Now, the song leaked at first with a different beat than what the final song was. But the song itself with the final beat, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually really, really good diss, especially the fact that he's dissing like 20 people in one song. It's not just Kendrick. I really did like that song. I think it's going to be a very underrated one out this whole battle just because of everything that happened afterwards. But very, very good diss. I enjoyed it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be underrated, at least for me. I did kind of gloss over a little bit. I heard it when it first came out, but I since everything has happened, I haven't really thought too much about it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I really like that beat. I think that beat really fit kind of the vibe he was going for on that song. And just it's a lot of little funny stuff in it. Throughout this entire beef, I've listened to these songs.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to them in various different orders,
Mm-hmm.
various different ways. And so at this point, it's like the songs that I really do like. And Push Ups is one of those songs just
Okay.
out the whole battle.
Okay.
So we go from Push Ups to Tailor Made. Now I'm gonna let you go first about Tailor Made because I'm gonna go on a rant.
Is this isn't the one that was AI generated?
Yeah, this is the AI generated one. Yeah.
See this one. I think the fact that it was AI generated, I didn't even bother with it because it's like it's what's the point? It's not coming from you. It shows like how desperate he really was in that situation to try and strike back. And yeah, I didn't even pay attention to this one.
So I'm with you on it. I'm tired of people trying to use Tupac's name and voice for things that you should know good and damn well he wouldn't be involved in. Because I think in this scenario, Drake, he would not be on your side in any way, shape, or form. Listening to the words, after listening to the song and paying attention to the words, if Drake would have rapped them, it would have sounded so much better. Because, like, I don't know, just listening to that, you could tell Drake wrote it. And, like, just even the cadence and stuff, I'm like, man, Pac wouldn't rap like that. He just wouldn't. But yeah, it was completely skippable, and it was a bad move. Like, you're part of this whole thing is the ghostwriter stuff. It's already questions about that.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna use AI on a track. It just doesn't make sense. Not in a battle. Like, maybe just as a song.
Yeah.
But in a rap battle, nah. You never do that. You never do that. That was a bad move in my opinion.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the song?
It just showed desperation. It
Yes.
just reeked desperation to me.
Yes. So Drake puts that out. That's before Kendrick responds. And then, so it goes from Tailor Made Freestyle to Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar. Euphoria is good. It grew on me. The track that had to grow on me. But there was a lot of subtle things that kind of really forecasted the rest of this beef. Like, it really does foreshadow everything that happens. But yeah, I really like this track. Like I said, foreshadows a lot. Just gives foreshadowing on Euphoria.
Yeah, I agree. This one, at least out of the 3 diss tracks by Kendrick, is my least favorite. Just because when it came to what I was taking away, the consensus of what he was exactly targeting regarding Drake. It didn't like resonate with me as much. But yeah, I would agree it is kind of the Kickstarter in where this beef was headed.
Yeah, and the three different beats. That second one that he rapped over was hard. That was a hard beat. And then some of the jabs, like within it, you know, Drake and being the cultural appropriator. That's that was what I was like. Now the more I think about it, it might be something to that.
Definitely coming from someone who listens to all kinds of music from all different groups of people. He definitely has culturally appropriated. I think at least the biggest one on my mind right now is Mia with Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Speaking Spanish,
yeah.
It's bad that Drake feels the need like he has to do that when he really doesn't have to do all that to stay relevant. And even within Euphoria, Kendrick Lamar kind of taps into some of those fake accents that he uses that kind of, you know, poke fun at him.
Yeah.
And then also with Euphoria, like I said, it foreshadowed things and then the beat changes. But just the way, the energy that Kendrick Lamar is rapping with, you could tell there's a level of focus here and then there's a level of measure here with the words that he's saying. And that it's almost like, oh, I'm prepared for however this thing goes. Like I'm prepared either way. So I think that's something really, really good about this. And like I said, it grew on me. When you first hear it, it doesn't like punch you in the mouth, but as you continue to listen to it over and over again, you pay attention to what he says. You know, looking back on it now, it's really good. It's really, really good. That's the one thing about this whole entire battle. A lot of good music. A lot of good music.
Yeah.
So after Euphoria drops, we get 616 in LA, which was the song where I was like, oh nah, we here. We rapping now. We rapping now. The beat is cause that's not Sam Cooke, but Al Green. I think that's an Al Green sample that they're using. Man, that beat is crazy. And the fact that it was produced by one of Taylor Swift's producers.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you never remember which one exactly?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. No, I don't remember. I remember seeing it on Twitter. I don't remember the name. Sorry, I don't listen to Taylor Swift. But yeah, 616 freestyle or 616 LA, excuse me. I love this song. It hit real early in the morning. I was up on 2K. Oh snap! This is a Kendrick drop. What are your thoughts?
This one went under the radar for me, so I actually have not heard this one. But from what you're telling me, it sounds like one I should definitely check out.
Yes, it definitely is one you should check out. He's setting the tone on, once again, a lot of the different things that he said he was going to talk about, but also kind of bringing up other people involved. He's saying how OVO is working for him, and it's a very table setting type of track. Like it's letting you know, okay, these OVO people, they working for me. I know what's going on in your camp. Like I know. And plus the OJ the OJ glove is funny as a picture. That's a funny touch. So we go from there to Drake. Same night drops Family Matters. Have you heard Family Matters all the way through?
I have heard that one all the way through.
What did you think of it first?
I thought it was a decent, a decent contender to try and get back at Kendrick. But I feel like Kendrick is just, with these songs coming way harder. I did hear this one before, because I kind of heard these songs out of order. I did hear this one before. I think it was Meet the Grams. So the going into hearing that before hearing Meet the Grams, I kind of sided with Drake as far as the Kendrick talking about Adonis and mentioning that, which we'll probably gloss upon later.
We're gonna go into that.
But I thought it was pretty good. I like the I think this one also kind of has a sample to it as well, right?
I think so, but I can't tell you what it is for sure.
Well, yeah, I just like the vibe of the song. It is a little long for me. I don't really like long songs.
Did you see the video too, or did you just listen to the song?
Yeah, I just listened to the song.
Okay, the video, Drake is imitating smashing up the van from Good Kid, Mad City.
I did see that. Yeah. I did see that.
So Family Matters is a very good song.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is probably, if we just a song other than Not Like Us, this is probably the best song, like just song, that was put out there. This entire thing. The first part of it, I didn't like the fact that he used same beat that he used on Push Ups. Once again, in the battle, you don't do that. It's like, I feel like this was also like a good learning experience of kind of what the battle rap rules are for beef now in 2024, just because it is so different. But yeah, to me, you just don't use a beat that was already there before. It's almost letting it be known you had that in the tuck and you're not rapping live. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then he got into the pocket with the second part of it, and I was like, okay, no, he really rapping here, and he's sending some real heavy shots. Because even in the first one, he was sending some heavy shots. I think that's the verse or the part of the song where he mentioned Kendrick Lamar's fiance or his baby mom. I don't. Do you know how to address her after this entire beef? Like,
I don't. That's just a lot to take in.
Yes, it's a lot. But that was the first time where he mentioned that, hey, one of your kids may not be your kid.
Oh yeah. Now I do remember something I didn't want to touch upon the whole Dave East, the mentions of Dave.
Well,
East.
it wasn't Dave East, Dave Free. That's the guy's name. So it's okay because the way that he said it in the song, you couldn't really tell.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, my bad.
It's all right. Shoot, Dave. For all we know, Dave East probably somewhere. Linked to this somehow, some way. But yeah, that's who we talk about. Apparently, this guy is like Kendrick's manager or was his manager. So a bunch of industry stuff that people really don't know about. People really have never even thought about or given a second thought to. They were just brought out here and exposed here. But like I said, this is a very good song. Some bars, and this is another one of those songs similar to Push Ups where he's dissing like a bunch of people on it, which I think is to the detriment of Drake. If Drake would have zeroed in on Kendrick, he probably would have fared a lot better in this battle than he did. But Family Matters comes out, and then 40 minutes later, very short minutes later, Kendrick drops Meet the Grams. Boy, oh boy. Meet the Grams. I mean, what can you really say about Meet the Grams? I mean, Brandon, you touched on it earlier. You want to give your thoughts on it now since you touched on it already?
Yeah, so I think it was definitely a bit below the belt. Definitely mentioning Adonis and belittling Drake the way he does. And it's not the fact that he's belittling Drake that's really the issue. It's the fact that he mentioned Adonis and is belittling him in the same song. Obviously, as we know, these people are public figures, and when Adonis grows up, he's going to be able to find this, and it's just not a good look for either both Kendrick or Drake. For Kendrick to say something like that, and then obviously because he's belittling Drake, so it doesn't make his father look in the best light.
And I think that's the first time I've ever even sat and thought about it like that, because I'm under the mindset of, hey, if we in battle, we in war. I won't say things aren't off limits, but people are going to have to know when you're in times of back and forth and in conflict. There are people that will go to the deepest, darkest depths of hell and your life.
Oh yeah.
To try to throw your name through the dirt. And so that's why I see what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. I think long term, I mean, I don't think it's going to sit right family wise. However, it was just an interesting angle to take the way that he did, because this isn't the first time Adonis has been mentioned in rap beef. Because I'm wearing the Pusha T-shirt now. Y'all can't see it.
Well, yeah, I forget about that.
Yeah, y'all can't see it, but I'm wearing the Pusha T-shirt right now. I thought this would be a very appropriate occasion. But he brought up Adonis then. I mean, he's actually the person who, on a national wide scale, exposed the whole Adonis thing. And so now for Kendrick to be mentioning him, he mentioned his mother by name.
Yeah.
He mentioned his father by name.
Yeah.
He mentioned the alleged 11-year-old daughter by name.
Yes.
And then Drake by name, by government name too. It was very direct. It was very poignant. It was very like, no, we're gonna take it there. We're gonna take it all the way there. And the way that Kendrick used his voice, the way that piano, and shout out to the Alchemist for making that beat. Oh my god. Everything that song represented, it didn't feel like a song, and that even just in listening to it felt like a movie. It felt like a video or something. Like the pictures were just super vivid, and and that's how it could rain so much on a song like Family Feud.
I agree.
And the 11-year-old daughter. Let's talk about the 11-year-old daughter here. First off, do you believe that the 11-year-old daughter is a real thing?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, based on the image that I kind of have, I don't believe so. But it's just one of those things where until it's out there, I don't think we'll really know. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't necessarily believe it either, and I know the theories online are that Drake planted all this stuff for beef. Now the daughter part being a plan, I do believe that. I do believe that's something that he was like, okay, we're gonna plan this whole thing out to make it seem like I had his daughter, and then we're gonna have this DNA test, and it's gonna come back as not mine. It's gonna kill his entire credibility. That's probably the way I would have went about this battle as a whole. On Drake's side, that's pretty intricate, actually.
Yeah, I would have just wrote that thing out, because even in Family, I think it was Family Matters, where he mentioned, they were going to go and do that. They were going to do the whole thing. Well, no, I tab back. That was on Heart Part 6, where he was like, yeah, we were going to plan this whole thing out. And I mean, I think he's saying that to save face, but I do believe that would have been a really good play for Drake to do throughout this whole thing, because it would have destroyed Kendrick's credibility about everything else, even with some of the stuff that's out there. Something else that Kendrick talked about on there was about how just his womanizing ways, pedophiles on staff, sex offenders on staff at OVO. First off, the woman. Let's dive into the womanizing part first. I think that's the most obvious one to tackle, so to speak. Drake that's just the type of man that he is. And I'm not saying that that's right, but there are just people out here, men and women, that they just like to have a lot of partners.
Yeah, Drake is someone who is obviously like an attractive man, and he knows it, and it goes to his head, and he uses it to his advantage. Yes.
And just also the womanizing part, just researching this week, a lot of these beefs have started over women.
I'm quite sure.
Yeah, a lot of these beefs started over a woman, or Drake has had some beef with some man over a woman. Like it always seems to revolve around a woman. But yeah, the womanizer part, we already knew about that. Not much of a surprise, not much of a shock. Pretty predictable angle from Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
But the OVO pedophiles, that I wasn't expecting. Like Cat Williams said, this is the year of truth. This is the year of truth, Brandon. This is the year of truth.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Diddy first.
Yeah.
allegedly, because we don't know if he did it, and I ain't trying to get sued, but Diddy got exposed for something like this as well. And now the OVO camp is like, how real do you think that type of stuff is in entertainment industry?
I don't know, because I feel like the entertainment industry, since its creation, has always it's been corrupt, and so it's been easy for people, if they want to make it, they have to, do things that are morally just wrong. And it doesn't really matter if you're a minor or an adult. Like, if you want to make it, these are the terms that are said that you have to go by. And
that's very, very sad that the entertainment industry has those type of practices. Like, most people, a lot of people, period, just want to be in, like, for example, people want to be on the movies, people want to be on TV, they want to be here, they want to be there. And to see, like, some of the things that people have to do to get into the industry, some of the things that people have to do to get to the top of the industry, to stay on top of the industry, it's pretty disgusting, man. It's sick work. Very, very sick work.
You've had a lot of people turn it down or just essentially kind of end their career because they weren't willing to corrupt themselves morally like that.
Right. And it's wild because you say that because people always try to make it seem like some of those people are crazy. And they ain't crazy. They just seen some shit. I mean, that's really the best way to put it. But if Drake does have some sex offenders and all that on his staff, bruh, what are you doing? Like, your team should be very well vetted.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And also, how they getting across the border, Drake? Y'all from Canada. If they sex offenders, are they sex offenders here, or are they sex offenders in Canada? Because they sex offenders in Canada, how they getting across the border? That's my next question. And that's a larger answer that I don't think neither one of us have, but just make sure y'all vote in 2024, people. That's all I'm saying. But so Meet the Grams comes out after Family Matters. Two good records, but Family Matters Meet the Grams was just punched a lot harder. It was just vicious, mean, and it just the pockets that Kendrick Lamar hit on that song, just as from a lyricism perspective, man. Oof. That's vicious. So we gonna get to the second to last song, the last song that really mattered throughout this entire battle. And that's Not Like Us. Not Like Us is the anthem of the summer already. Niggas out in LA is already stepping and crip walking and dancing to this. Not Like Us is a classic record. It's already gonna be like a classic to me, because as soon as that Mustard on the Beat drop hit, boy.
Yeah, that one, I agree, is hands down my favorite out of all of them.
Yep.
And I think, if you take the beef away from it, it just naturally is a good record. yes, very much so. And I mean, throughout it, it's almost like he's taking that victory lap of, all right, we celebrating this win now. Like, I'm gonna throw these little jabs out there at you. And I feel like every day since this song has come out, I feel like a new chant or phrase or something from that song pops up in my head, and then it's just stuck there. like the OVO chant is a funny one. Yeah.
Certified Lover Boy and Certified Pedophile is funny. He's a fan. freaky ass nigga. 69 God. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like in this battle, in this song right here, kind of gave Kendrick the trifecta of a real like game plan for a battle. Like he had one song where he laid things out. He had another song where he was just kind of rapping, trying to get in the head. The next song was exposing stuff, and the last song was like a song that's gonna get played on the radio and in the clubs. Like,
Yeah.
man, this was really Kendrick, you need to rap more. I think that's the biggest thing that I would say right now. Kendrick, please rap more. We need to know how great that you are on a more consistent basis, brother. We really do.
Make us believe that it's just Big U.
Yes, exactly. Because all Not Like Us is crack, man. That's it's crack. That's the best way to put it. The West Coast, like I said, they ride into it. It's gonna be an interesting summer for Drake. It's gonna be a real interesting summer for Drake. And then after Not Like Us, we both can agree that was the best song out the whole thing. Yeah, okay. Can't wait to hear it at a party. Definitely gonna be played at a reception. Just letting you know that now. So next you had the Heart Part 6, which is Drake kind of waving the white flag, saying, no mas. Did you even hear the song? 'Cause I don't think a lot of people heard it. To be honest
I didn't hear it. Honestly, at that point, I was like, Kendrick has definitely won this.
Yeah, I agree. I listened to it just because I wanted to hear what Drake had to say. A lot of it was, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. Yeah, and then back to the conversation about him saying that Kendrick beats on his baby mama, which I think Kendrick does have to address. That just kind of got swept under the rug. I think he will have to address that eventually. Yeah, you said you agree with that, right? You have to address it.
Yeah, I agree. That I think because of the Drake aspect of the beef and the lyricism, I think we have glossed over the whole Kendrick's baby mama.
But Drake spun the block back on that. The Day Free dude about Kendrick's kid. And then he mentioned, and this is where it was kind of like, all right, now at this point you just drawing for straws, where he talked about how pretty much saying Kendrick Lamar got molested as a child.
Oh.
Yeah. When in reality the song, which I cannot remember which album it's off of. Sorry, I listen to Kendrick Lamar, but typically after the albums have been out for a while, because Kendrick is one of those artists you got to listen to all the way through. You can't just listen to one song, most of them.
Yeah.
But the song really was talking more so about Kendrick's mother. Heart Part 6 was pretty much Drake waving a white flag and trying to just back out with all the jabs that he can. This is when he also brought up the theory that he planted all the evidence, the OVO mole. This was kind of like Drake saying no mas. No mas, no mas. So we've talked about all the songs already. Excuse me. So who do you, okay, let me ask this question first. Who do you think won the beef, and do you think that the beef went too far?
I think Kendrick definitely won the beef. I think his punches were a lot harder, and that does kind of bring me to the point. I think they both honestly went a little too far with some of the stuff, because a lot of the stuff is like very it's very things like you're accusing people of like really serious things that could
like a lot
ruin
of
their reputation. Yeah. So I think in that regard, it did go a bit too far, but I think Kendrick came out on top on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Kendrick, he demolished that man. And I think in terms of if they went too far or not, do I think that they went too far? sure, but it's still a rap beef.
Yeah.
Like, rap beefs aren't meant to be soft.
Yeah.
They're not meant to just say, "Oh, you're ugly." Like, I think when you have two artists at the magnitude of Drake and Kendrick Lamar, things are gonna come up within the beef. I think that's gonna happen, and I think that this beef was more so about, for each of them. I think for Drake's sake, it was about proving that he's better than Kendrick Lamar, and for Kendrick Lamar's sake, it's like, no, I hate this dude with the passion of a million burning suns, and I want to just obliterate him to where he has no value to anybody.
I would agree.
And so that's why I think it went to the place that it did. Sad that it went to that place because children are involved within this, but all's fair in love and hip hop, man. All's fair, love and hip hop. So yeah, Kendrick won this battle, scorched that man. He is now the best rapper alive. I think, is that safe to say?
Yeah, I would think, yeah.
yeah. He's the best rapper alive. He has the crown. And like I said before, in terms of Kendrick, like, I really, and we're gonna get to kind of what we see going forward with both of these dudes. I'll say this about Kendrick now. I really just want to see more music from Kendrick. This made me want more music from him more consistently, because it really is easy to forget how talented of an artist, how talented of a lyricist, how talented of a creator Kendrick Lamar is, because he just doesn't put things out consistently. But yeah, this made me want more music from Kendrick Lamar, and I think that the next album that he puts out, which I do think is going to be very soon, I think we're going to get an album this summer. It's gonna be massive. Like, it's gonna be next level.
I think Kendrick does have all eyes on him at the moment, so I think this summer would be the perfect time for a new album, and I think, as you said, it would definitely be massive because we know what he's capable of, truly.
Yes. So now let's talk about the spoiler, the loser. And I hate to say, he does come out looking like a loser. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Drake. What do you see happening next with Drake? How do you think this battle is going to affect his legacy? Like, where does Drake fall in after all this?
I think in the hip hop space, Drake is definitely fallen a couple of notches. However, in the general music space, I don't think it's made much of a difference. I mean, coming from somebody that does listen to all genres of music and kind of know what to look for and like what's popular, Drake definitely has a lot more pop appeal than Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar has pop appeal, but Drake has pop appeal.
Okay. That's very interesting take on it. So you don't think, because it's interesting that you say pop appeal, because I feel like at this point the biggest rappers are pop stars. I think a pop star, people use it for like a pop singer.
Yeah.
But in reality, a pop star is someone who, to me, is like musically across all genres.
Yeah.
People know who they are just because of how talented they are.
Yeah. Quick definition. I mean, we have pop music, the genre of music, and then we have pop music, which is what's popular music at the time. Yeah. So yeah, I would agree. Yeah, they are still pop stars, but I guess when I say like Drake has more pop appeal, like you can walk up to just about anyone and they could tell you, at least 1 to maybe 3 Drake songs, but if you walk up to, just anybody and ask them to name like a Kendrick song, I mean, not that they couldn't, but they could probably name a Drake song before a Kendrick song. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. But you just don't, I don't know, you just don't think people are gonna hear the stuff that was said about Drake on that side and be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you will have a group that will kind of be like, I'm probably essentially we're going to cancel him because of the stuff that he's been accused of. I know for me, Drake's music has shaped my kind of adolescence, I would say.
Yeah, that's weird because
So,
you're in that age group where Drake was just been around forever.
yes, I remember you like listening to Drake music growing up, and I didn't know it was Drake, but I knew I liked it. And I remember, being in one of the first rap songs I was allowed to rap was "Best I Ever Had." But I think it can just come from a bias that I have towards Drake. But looking at it from just that, I guess is objective the word.
Yeah,
An objective perspective. I think, his career and his legacy might take a little bit, of a dive.
Yeah. I'm with you in terms of Drake. So I think from a hip hop perspective, Drake. First off, Drake can't say that he's number one anymore.
Yeah.
It's been proven false.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is this beef between Kendrick and Drake. We're all focusing just on those two because they put out records. But I mean, Rick Ross put out a diss song to Drake, calling him a white boy, and saying that he had a BBL and a Doge job and all that. BBL Drizzy. Metro Boomin got a beat. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, but I've seen it.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. He got people dissing Drake in 70 different languages across the world. But for me, Drake, I think the culture just didn't like Drake. Like, I just think that hip hop culture has always kind of had that love-hate thing with Drake, because I think Drake is a talented rapper, but I don't think he is a traditional MC. Like, Kendrick is an MC.
Yeah.
Drake is a rapper. And I think there's a distinction between the two. When you talk about a rapper, you're talking about somebody who can make rap songs that kind of are more commercial, and are looked at kind of from the lens of, okay, this dude really makes hip hop, but he makes friendly hip hop, if you will. He's not really going into these different pockets and flows like some of these like more lyrical rappers are, or MCs are, for the context of this. But then you have the MC, where the MC is the lyricist. Like, he pockets, flows, he or she at this point, pockets, flows, rap is what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the distinction that was drawn here throughout this battle. And I think Drake going forward, he's got to do one of two things. He's either got to come out with another album next where it's just him and he's just rapping. I mean, rapping and not rapping in a way to where, like, for all the dogs, he was rapping. There was no motivation. There was no sense of urgency with any of those raps. He's gonna have to put out an album where he's just rapping, and it's like '09 Drake, like, where he's like really just rapping, or he's just gonna have to give a rap altogether, and really just focus on the R&B stuff, or get back into acting. I mean, shit, why not at this point? He has nothing left to prove musically, like just being objective, like we had said before. But yeah, it's gonna be tough for Drake going forward. I mean, because so many people in the industry that he could rely on before, I don't think they're gonna be there anymore. Like, I just don't. Especially the guys out of Atlanta, because in Not Like Us, he was talking about Drake being a colonizer to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, so, I do remember that.
So I think some of those dudes are gonna look at him a little different. And I think more so it's all just out of respect for Kendrick. I think everybody kind of respect Kendrick in that way. It's like, nah, he's the one.
Yeah, and I think, at this point, they're probably like, we don't want any smoke. So yeah,
that's true too. But like I said before, I don't think this is... I don't think this was that kind of beef. I think that's why Schoolboy Q. It makes sense why Schoolboy Q would say, "Cole, hey, just back out of this. Trust me, this ain't that type of party. This ain't that type of lyrical back and forth for fun. No, we're trying to annihilate this dude. Like we hate this man. We don't want to see him eat. We don't want to see him live. And those are Kendrick Lamar's words. That to me is like, that to me is the biggest thing about this entire beef, was just that energy that was there, and why I think Drake just probably needs to give up, man, because everybody's gonna keep trying him from this point on. Especially out here moving the way that he's moving, bro. Like,
yeah, I agree.
So now that we've talked through this whole beef, do you have any final thoughts on the beef? How was your first rap beef?
It was eventful, to say the least. It was good like, as I mentioned before, to see rappers actually doing like diss songs within minutes of each other.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that too.
And not just throwing little jabs in a song here and there, because I'm kind of tired of that. I want like a diss track. But at the end of the day, I just hope this isn't a publicity stunt and they're trying to promote something together. I mean, I strongly doubt that, but a friend and I were talking about this a couple of nights ago. We were like, well, what if this was just like a publicity stunt for these two, and they got something big they're dropping for us?
That's an interesting take, because I don't think I've ever thought of it that way. Like, what if they are making all this up? What if this isn't real? I don't know. Calling somebody a pedophile ain't no faking calling nobody a pedophile.
Well, see, that's the thing. Some people, you'd be surprised what lines people will go just for publicity.
Yeah, but that's a line that I wouldn't cross. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's good. Yeah, that's just my closing thought. But overall, I thought it was a good beef. Well, I mean that's it was entertaining. It was entertaining. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think it has really opened my eyes to how much more of like a lyricist that Kendrick Lamar really is, and does kind of show me the distinction I have as far as my love for Kendrick and Drake, how different they are. Kendrick, I like him more for his rapping, because that's, his first and foremost focus. But Drake, as I've kind of grown and matured, I know not everybody likes it, but I kind of lean more towards the singing, as long as he's not trying to do things hit outside his vocal range.
Yeah.
But I like that Drake he does kind of like to play around and a little bit more with popular music at the time. So
okay, I'm just really fascinated, because the more I sit and think about it, the more I'm like, man, you really are of the generation where Drake is all that you kind of know, like, in a way. And when I don't mean that like you don't know other artists, but I mean that as like he's been considered like the best rapper on the planet for the last 10 years, like damn near 10 years, if not 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
But my overall thoughts on this beef and this battle is, number one, Kendrick Lamar, please put out more music. This has been the thing, because even like before this battle started, just like the conversation of it all throughout, I always was like, I think Drake would have a fighting chance and it just depends on like, one, what they talk about, and two, just like what version of Kendrick Lamar are we getting. After hearing this, I realized, oh nah, Kendrick Lamar really is probably the greatest rapper of all time. Like, and I don't feel ashamed saying that. I don't feel uneasy saying that. I don't feel wrong saying that. I feel like this battle showed, because he hit every single corner of what being an MC is. He had a song where he was melodic and giving you like just blanket statements on how he felt about this man, to go to a beat where he's like, oh no, I'm gonna rap and I'm just gonna say something more so to get in your head, to then, oh no, I'm gonna speak directly to you, your family, and I'm just gonna be just vicious with every word, every line that I say, to then go into, all right, let's have a party. We gonna celebrate the fact that I just whooped your ass. Like, and to me, I don't know, that's just a different level of skill that a lot of people in the rap game just don't have. And so shout out to Kendrick Lamar for putting foot in asses, opening up a big can of whoop ass. And then in terms of Drake, I don't feel bad that Drake lost, but I feel bad that Drake really did make some good music in this battle. Really, you could tell he was really motivated for once musically, and it just still wasn't enough. It just still wasn't enough. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. Kendrick won this thing by a landslide.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, Brandon, you want to plug your stuff? Anything?
Yeah. So as Broderick mentioned earlier, I do a podcast called Discovering Discographies, and on that podcast we talk about everything music. We talk about hip hop, R&B, pop, even country. So you can find us on all podcast streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, you name it. And then you can also follow me on Instagram at BrandonIsDA plug.
Okay. And all that stuff will be in the description, wherever this is uploaded at, so y'all be able to get to that real quick. But yeah, y'all, just as always, thank y'all for watching. Continue to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know who y'all think won the beef. Follow at Broadcast Network on all platforms. You're into wrestling at Broadcast PW on Twitter and Instagram as well. Yeah, and that's all that I got, people. It's been your boy Brody. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on and talking with your boy.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, anytime. And for everybody out there, catch y'all later. Peace.